I want you to just, for a second, cast your mind back to the summer of 2022. It
Right.
was a weird time, wasn't it? We were sort of coming out of the pandemic fog. The world was opening up, but everyone was just glued to their phones.
Completely.
And if you opened your phone, I don't care if it was TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, you saw the same guy.
You could not escape him. It was a saturation event.
Literally everywhere.
Yeah.
Bald head, sunglasses indoors, always smoking a cigar.
The cigar.
Usually shouting about sparkling water, Bugattis, or, telling you that you were a loser if you didn't have a private jet.
It was a digital phenomenon unlike anything we had really seen before. We actually have the data on this, which is fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
In July 2022, Andrew Tate was searched on Google more than Donald Trump.
Wow.
He was searched more than Kim Kardashian. He was searched more than COVID-19.
More than COVID.
More than COVID.
Yeah.
For that one brief, intense window, he was quite literally the most famous man on the internet.
And the most polarizing. I mean, to half the internet, mostly teenage boys, he was a messiah, the top G.
Yeah.
The guy giving them the keys to the universe.
To the other half.
To the other half, he was, well, a monster. The
Yeah.
king of toxic masculinity.
Right. But here's the problem with how we consumed that story back then. We consumed it in 15-second clips.
Right.
We got the memes, we got the outrage bait, we got the sound bites, but we didn't really get the mechanics. We didn't get what was happening under the hood.
And that's what we're doing today. We are ignoring the sound bites. We are doing a proper deep dive into the reality of Andrew Tate. Because now, as we're sitting here in January 2026, the story has shifted so dramatically, it's not internet drama anymore.
Oh, no, it's serious international crime.
Yeah.
The stakes have completely changed. We aren't talking about getting banned from Twitter or Facebook anymore. We are talking about a legal labyrinth that spans the United Kingdom, Romania, and now, following his flight in 2025, the United States.
And the charges are just staggering.
We're talking about charges of rape, human trafficking, tax evasion, and forming an organized crime group.
It's a mess. And I think if you've just seen the headlines recently, you're probably thinking, wait, he's in Florida now.
I thought he was in a Romanian dungeon.
Exactly. I thought he was in a Romanian dungeon. And what on earth does a chess master have to do with cam girls? It doesn't connect.
It is confusing. I'll grant you that. But when you lay out the timeline and you look at the evidence, specifically the financial and psychological evidence that's been presented in court, a very clear picture starts to emerge.
Okay.
Not of a guru, but of a system, a machine.
So our mission today is to reverse engineer that system. We're going to trace the line from a council estate in Luton to a compound in Bucharest, and then finally to a courtroom in Florida. Let's unpack the man, the myth, and what he calls the matrix.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so Chapter 1, the origin story. I think the biggest misconception people have about him, and I'll admit I definitely had this at first, is that Tate came from money.
Right. You see the jets, the cars.
You see the private jets, the 33 cars, the diamond watches, and you just assume trust fund kid, spoiled rich kid.
It couldn't be further from the truth. While he was born in Washington, D.C. on December 1st, 1986, his formative years, they were spent in Luton, England.
And we need to be specific about Luton.
We do.
It's not exactly Monte Carlo, is it?
Not at all. Not at all. After his parents divorced in 1997, his mother, Eileen, took Andrew and his brother Tristan back to the UK. His mom worked as a catering assistant.
Okay.
They lived in a place called Marsh Farm.
Marsh Farm.
It's a council estate. For our listeners in the U.S., you'd call it the projects or public housing. Tate himself has described it as the worst area of the worst town.
So he's not exactly hiding from it.
No, he leans into it. He grew up with significant financial hardship. He tells these stories about scavenging for leftover chicken at the local fast food place.
Yeah.
That hunger, that literal and metaphorical hunger, it starts right there. That's ground zero.
But he has this grinding poverty on one side. And then on the other side, you have this almost mythical figure in his life, his dad, Emery Tate.
Emery Tate is the absolute key to unlocking Andrew's psychology. You really cannot understand the son without understanding the father.
Okay, so who was he?
Emery was an international master in chess. He was a trailblazer in African-American chess circles, known for being absolutely brilliant, but also incredibly chaotic.
When you say chaotic, what do you mean? Like disorganized? Or
I mean, on the board and off the board. In chess, there's a style associated with a player named Mikhail Tate. It's aggressive, it's sacrificial, it's high risk. Emery played like that.
So not defensive.
Never. He wouldn't just try to beat you. He'd try to psychologically dismantle you. He'd sacrifice his queen, the most powerful piece on the board, just to trap your king 10 moves later. It was all about the spectacular attack.
That sounds familiar.
Exactly. And Andrew worshipped him. He didn't see his dad often after the divorce, but the impact was total. Andrew learned to view the entire world as a chessboard.
So every interaction is a transaction.
Every person is a pawn. You are constantly calculating leverage. Who has the power? How can I flip it? It's a very cold, strategic way to see the world, and he learned it from day one.
So he takes this grandmaster mindset from his dad, and he applies it to, well, to fighting. Because before the internet fame, before all of this, he was a professional fighter.
A kickboxer. And we have to give the devil his due here. He wasn't a cosplayer. He wasn't some guy who took a few classes. He was legit.
Yeah, he started professionally around 2005.
And he was good.
I looked up the stats. 76 wins, 9 losses. A 4-time world champion across 2 different organizations, ISK and Infusion. I mean, that is elite level. You don't just stumble into that.
You don't. He was known as King Cobra. And if you look at his fighting style again, it's the same psychology. He wasn't a brawler who just swung wildly.
He was a counter-striker.
A pure counter-striker. He would keep his hands low, which is risky, to bait you into making a mistake, and then he'd punish you for it. It's the chess player in the ring, looking for that one mistake to exploit.
There's that one rivalry that really stands out to me, the one with Jean-Luc Benoit.
Yes, this is a perfect example of his drive. He lost to Benoit by decision in 2011. Now, most fighters would have taken the loss, maybe complained about the judges, and moved on.
Right.
Tate obsessed over it. He demanded a rematch, got it later that same year, and won by a brutal knockout.
And it didn't even stop there, did it?
No.
Okay.
Just to settle the score permanently, they fought a trilogy fight in 2015, and Tate won again. It shows this absolute refusal to accept defeat that borders on obsession.
But fighting doesn't really pay, does it? I mean, not kickboxing.
No, that's the dirty secret of combat sports.
Yeah.
Unless you are Conor McGregor or a top-tier heavyweight boxer, you are making peanuts.
Yeah.
Tate has said this himself. He'd win a world title and then have to go pawn his watch to pay the rent. The glory was there, but the money wasn't.
So that creates a really dangerous combination, right? You have a guy who is hyper-competitive, highly intelligent, physically dangerous, and completely broke.
And he feels entitled to more. He feels he's a king living like a peasant. But then, just as he's at his peak, the fighting career hits a wall, a physical wall.
The injury.
Multiple detached retinas. That is a terrifying injury for anyone, but for a fighter, it's a career ender.
Because you could go blind.
You could go permanently blind from one bad punch. It requires serious surgery to repair, and even then, your eyes are structurally compromised forever. He had to retire. He had no choice.
Although I have to mention, he didn't stay retired forever. He did try that comeback, didn't he?
Right. That was just recently, in December 2025.
He got back in the ring in Dubai against Chase Stamore.
The reality TV star. Not exactly a world champion kickboxer.
No, and it didn't go well for him. He lost by majority decision. I think that moment in 2025 really shattered the aura of physical invincibility he had tried so hard to maintain.
It did.
The top G couldn't physically dominate anymore, even against a non-fighter.
Which forces the question, if you can't be the fighter anymore, who do you become? And that brings us right to the pivot.
So, chapter 2 in this saga, the pivot. From athlete to infamy. And the catalyst for this fame wasn't a knockout kick. It was reality TV. Specifically, Big Brother UK back in 2016.
This is really where the public first gets a taste of Andrew Tate, the character. He was cast in the 17th series of the show, but he only lasted 6 days.
6 days. That has to be some kind of record. And he was kicked out because of a video, right?
Yes. A video surfaced online that appeared to show him striking a woman with a belt. Now, the narratives here are completely conflicting, which is a theme we were going to see again and again and again with him.
What were the two sides?
Well, the show's producers said he was removed due to events outside the house, which hinted at an ongoing police investigation at the time. Tate, however, claimed the video was consensual fun with a friend, that it was all a joke.
And didn't the woman in the video actually speak up about it?
She did. She came out publicly and agreed with him. She released a video saying they were just joking around and that it was completely consensual. But regardless of the truth of that specific video, the damage, or perhaps for him, the brand building, was done. He was now the bad boy, the guy they couldn't handle.
But you can't pay the bills with notoriety alone. You need a business model. And this is where things get Well, they get dark.
This is where the money starts, the webcam business.
Right.
This is the financial foundation of everything that comes later. Tate and his brother Tristan set up a webcam studio. At its peak, they employed up to 75 models.
And this wasn't just like a passive investment. This wasn't, we run the servers. They were deeply, deeply involved in the day-to-day operations.
Deeply involved. And Tate has been incredibly open about this in past interviews, almost boastful. He admitted the entire business model involved selling fake sob stories to the male callers.
Wait, explain that. How do you sell a fake sob story? What does that even mean?
Well, the men on the other end of the camera, the simps, as Tate would call them, they thought they were in a real relationship with these women. They thought they were helping their girlfriend pay for his sick relative's medical bills or get out of debt. But often, the person typing in the chat wasn't the girl on the screen. It was Andrew or Tristan.
So these guys thought they were flirting with a 20-year-old model, but they were actually texting Andrew Tate in another room.
Laughs, yes. He's joked that he was the best girl on the site because he knew exactly what buttons to push with these lonely men. He openly, and I mean openly, referred to himself as a pimp during this era. The Guardian even called it his transition from kickboxer to webcam pimp.
He called it a total scam himself. He admitted it.
He did. But from a legal and a psychological perspective, this period is critical. It established what prosecutors in Romania would later call the lover boy method.
Okay, break that down for us, because that term, lover boy, it sounds almost quaint, but it's actually a serious legal term in human trafficking cases, isn't it?
It is. It's a recognized technique used to recruit and control victims. It works in phases. Phase 1 is selection and seduction. The perpetrator identifies a woman, maybe someone who's vulnerable or lonely, and he just showers her with attention.
Love bombing.
Massive love bombing. Constant texts, gifts, future planning. You're the one. We're going to build an empire together. I want to marry you.
So he makes them completely emotionally dependent on him.
Exactly. Then once she is, you hit phase 2. The pivot. Baby, we're struggling financially. I need you to do this webcam thing just for a little while, for us, for our future.
So it frames the exploitation as a sacrifice for the relationship. It's not for him, it's for them.
Precisely. And once they are in, it's very hard to get out. The BBC investigation into his operation found evidence of what they called Pavlovian conditioning, basically training women to submit.
Wow.
There were reports of women having their sleep controlled, their movements tracked, and being forced to give up a huge percentage of their earnings to prove their loyalty. It's incredibly manipulative.
So he's making millions from this webcam business. He claims he made his first million here, but he clearly wants more. He wants influence. He wants fame, which leads us to the next phase, the business of influence. This is where he weaponized the internet.
It was a masterclass in algorithmic manipulation.
Right.
He launches something called Hustlers University.
Right.
On the surface, it was a pretty standard subscription platform, $49.99 a month, and it was supposed to teach you about copywriting, crypto, e-commerce, the usual get-rich-online stuff.
But the genius of it, or the insidiousness of it, was the marketing. It wasn't about the courses.
Not at all. It was an affiliate marketing program. The students, the members, were incentivized to clip up Tate's most controversial rants, post them on TikTok and Instagram, and if someone signed up through their link, they got a commission.
So suddenly you have an army, a volunteer army.
Literally an army.
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands of 15-year-old boys flooding the internet with Andrew Tate content because they think it's their ticket to becoming a millionaire.
It created an artificial viral loop.
That's the perfect way to put it. It wasn't that the whole world was suddenly and organically fascinated by him. It was that an army of affiliates was being paid to force him into your feed over and over again.
It's essentially astroturfing on a massive scale.
It is, and it worked, until it didn't. Marketing professors like Paul Harrigan explicitly labeled it a social media pyramid scheme.
Why a pyramid scheme?
Because the main product they were really selling was the ability to sell the product to other people. The focus wasn't on the e-commerce course, it was on recruiting more members. Eventually, the payment processor Stripe caught on and pulled their services.
And they had to shut down the affiliate program.
Right. But by then, the job was done. He was already the most famous man on the internet, so he just pivots again. He shuts down Hustlers University and immediately launches The Real World in October 2022.
A rebrand.
A simple rebrand. The Real World plays into his matrix ideology. The idea is that the traditional educational system, your university, that's all a lie. That's the matrix. And he offers the red pill, the escape.
It's a community.
Very much so. Members call each other G, and Tate is the top G. It's incredibly tribal, very cult-like in its language.
And incredibly profitable. What were the numbers on that?
Estimates from 2023 suggested the monthly revenue was around $5 million.
$5 million a month. That is staggering.
It is, but for a guy who claims to be a tech genius and a master of the universe, the operational security of the real world was, well, it was lacking.
To put it mildly, we have to talk about the leaks. The data disasters.
They were significant. In May 2024, a misconfigured database exposed the personal data of nearly 1 million users.
Everything.
Emails, passwords, IP addresses, everything. Then, just a few months later, in November 2024, a cyber attack leaked chat logs and private user data.
So for a group that prides itself on being an elite secret society, their digital doors were just wide open.
Wide open. It was a mess.
That brings us to the ideology itself, because he's not just selling courses on crypto, he's selling a worldview, what people call the manosphere.
He is a central, if not the central figure in the modern manosphere, and his core tenets are stark. He's not subtle about it.
No.
He has stated on the record that women are the property of men, that they belong in the home, that they shouldn't be allowed to drive. He has self-identified proudly as a misogynist.
And he wraps all of this in this matrix conspiracy theory.
Right, and we need to be careful to explain what he means by that because it's a slippery term. Sometimes he uses the matrix to just mean, societal control or big corporations. The system.
But other times it means something else.
Other times, investigations, like the one from Mother Jones, have pointed out that he uses it as a dog whistle.
A dog whistle for what?
For anti-Semitic tropes. He's made references to a Jewish mafia that supposedly controls society. So the Matrix becomes this very malleable enemy. If the police arrest him, it's the Matrix. If the bank freezes his account, it's the Matrix. It's an all-purpose villain.
And for those who want to go deeper than just the $49 a month course, there's another level. The War Room.
The Inner Circle.
Yeah. This is a high-ticket item.
Membership costs around $8,000. And this is where the allegations get extremely serious. The BBC investigation into the War Room was explosive. They got their hands on leaked charts for a course taught inside called the PhD.
The PhD? What's that?
It stood for Pimp and Hose degree.
Wow. Okay. That is blunt.
It's explicit. There's no room for interpretation. The curriculum, according to the BBC, allegedly taught men how to seduce, isolate, and then financially exploit women for webcam work.
So it's literally a textbook for the lover boy method.
It was a step-by-step guide. The investigation uncovered evidence of what they called Pavlovian conditioning, training women to submit. There were even reports of women being pressured to get tattoos of members' initials as a sign of ownership.
That is chilling. It moves it from, toxic masculinity talk on a podcast to actionable organized crime evidence. It's a different world.
A completely different world.
And yet, amidst all of this, his public ventures just got even weirder. We have to mention the politics and the crypto.
The chaos years. This is 2024, 2025. In 2025, he launches a political party in the UK called the BRUV Party.
BRUV.
Britain Restoring Underlying Values.
You cannot make this up.
The manifesto was described by one commentator as a bizarre mix of North Korea and homoeroticism. It seemed like a prank, but Tate insisted he was serious about it.
And then there was the crypto coin.
The daddy meme coin in 2024. He promoted it with slogans like, "Make me a huffing sandwich."
And he doxed CoffeeZilla, the YouTuber.
Yes, the investigative YouTuber CoffeeZilla questioned the legitimacy of the coin, basically asking if it was a classic pump-and-dump scheme. And Tate's response was to dox him, to release his personal information and encourage his followers to harass him.
It really showed a shift, I think, from the cool, collected chess master to someone just lashing out as the walls were closing in.
The pressure was clearly getting to him.
Speaking of walls closing in, let's get to the legal situation. Because this has become a global manhunt. It starts in the UK, it moves to Romania, and it ends up, for now, in Florida.
Let's trace it chronologically, because it's the only way to make sense of it. Phase 1 is the UK, from 2015 to 2019. This is before the big internet fame. He was arrested multiple times regarding allegations of rape and assault.
But he wasn't charged then. Why not?
The Crown Prosecution Service, or the CPS, eventually decided in 2019 not to charge him. The official reason was that there wasn't a realistic prospect of conviction.
What does that usually mean?
It usually means the evidence was essentially, he said, she said, and they didn't believe they could convince a jury beyond a reasonable doubt.
But the UK authorities didn't just forget about him.
No, specifically, the taxman didn't forget about him. the Devon and Cornwall police pursued a civil case regarding unpaid taxes on all his online businesses. By December 2024, they had seized £2.8 million.
So the Al Capone rules apply.
The Al Capone rules always apply. If they can't get you for the violence, they get you for the money.
So he's feeling the heat in the UK, and in 2017 he moves to Romania. Why Romania?
He was quoted, quite infamously, saying he liked countries where corruption is accessible.
He actually said that.
He did. He also said he believed he would be safer from the #MeToo movement there. He thought the police in Eastern Europe would be less likely to pursue sexual assault allegations without what he called CCTV proof.
That gamble backfired spectacularly.
It did. Which brings us to Phase 2, the raid, April 2022. It all started with a report to the U.S. Embassy in Bucharest that an American woman was being held against her will at Tate's property.
And that's what triggered the initial raid.
That kicked it all off. They were investigated, released, and then in December 2022 came the big arrest.
That was the image that went around the world. Tate in handcuffs being led from his compound.
The charges were severe: rape, human trafficking, and forming an organized criminal group. And the prosecutors seized nearly $4 million in assets, all the Bugattis, the watches, cash. They built their entire case around that lover boy strategy we talked about. They argued that he wasn't just a toxic boyfriend. He was systematically recruiting victims for a criminal business enterprise.
And just when it seemed like that Romanian trial was going to be the main event, things escalated. Again, this is 2024 and 2025.
Phase 3, the escalation. In August 2024, Romanian authorities conducted new raids on his properties. They expanded the investigation to include trafficking of minors and money laundering.
So the case was getting bigger, not smaller.
Much bigger. The heat was intensifying. And then the escape. February 2025. This was huge news. It was. Following what was reported as pressure from the Trump administration, his travel restrictions in Romania were lifted, and Tate immediately got on a private jet and flew to Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Wait, go back. Pressure from the Trump administration. How did that happen?
It was a major geopolitical twist. Tate has always aligned himself publicly with the MAGA movement, and it appears there was some kind of diplomatic leverage used to allow him to leave Romania while awaiting trial. He probably thought he was flying to freedom.
But he landed in a new jurisdiction with a whole new set of problems.
Exactly. He traded one fire for another. As of right now, January 2026, he is facing a brand new criminal investigation in Florida, initiated by their Attorney General, James Zuthmeier.
And that's not all.
Not even close. On top of that, his ex-girlfriend, Brianna Stern, filed a new civil lawsuit against him in the U.S., alleging horrific physical and sexual abuse. And, to top it all off, back in the UK, the CPS authorized 21 new charges against him in May 2025. The old cases came back to life.
So he's physically in the U.S., but he's fighting wars on 3 different fronts: UK, Romania, and now domestic U.S. law.
Yeah.
And there was that detail about the golden passport.
Yes, the Vanuatu connection, a classic move for someone in his position. It was revealed he had obtained citizenship in Vanuatu, a small island nation likely as an escape hatch, a place with no extradition treaty.
But that didn't work out either.
No. The Vanuatu government, once the extent of the global charges became clear, moved to revoke his citizenship. He's running out of safe harbors.
It's a dizzying amount of legal trouble to keep track of. But despite all of this, we cannot ignore his cultural impact. That's the crazy part. You talk to any teacher in any high school right now, and they know who Andrew Tate is.
The influence on youth has been profound and incredibly polarizing. There have been surveys showing that 1 in 5 young men hold favorable views of him.
1 in 5.
1 in 5. Compare that to young women, where support is almost zero. It has created this massive gender divide in classrooms, in friend groups.
Teachers are reporting a noticeable rise in misogyny and sexual harassment, and this very specific language. Kids calling themselves Top G, talking about high-value men and the Matrix.
It's become a legitimate public policy issue. The UK Labour Party proposed male role model mentorship programs specifically to counter this manosphere influence. The Australian government allocated millions of dollars to fund programs to counter harmful gender stereotypes. He forced governments to legislate against his personality.
And he's left this weird mark on pop culture, too. We have to talk about the Greta Thunberg moment.
The pizza box tweet, of course.
Right. December 2022. He's under investigation, but not yet arrested. He tweets at Greta Thunberg, the climate activist, bragging about his 33 cars and their enormous emissions.
A very strange flex, but okay.
And She replies with that legendary tweet, "Yes, please do enlighten me. Email me at smalldickenergy@getowlife.com."
It was one of the most liked tweets in the history of the platform. It was a global humiliation.
And many people believe that his angry video response, where he had a pizza box from a local Romanian chain on the table,
That it helped authorities confirm he was in the country, leading directly to his arrest just hours later.
Now, the authorities have denied the pizza box was the sole clue, but it became part of the legend, didn't it? The man who doxed himself out of sheer hubris.
It fit the narrative perfectly.
And then there's the religious aspect. He converted to Islam in 2022.
Which was a very complex development. On one hand, he was welcomed by some conservative Muslim scholars who appreciated his stance on traditional gender roles and family values.
But on the other hand?
On the other hand, many people in the Muslim community were deeply uncomfortable with him. His entire business background, the webcam studios, the casinos he was involved with, the alcohol, all of that is haram. It's forbidden in Islam. It added yet another layer of contradiction to his public identity.
It's all contradictions. That's what it comes down to. He's a traditional man who built his fortune running a digital cam girl business.
He's a freedom fighter who allegedly enslaves women.
He's a supposed billionaire who makes his money selling $50 courses to teenagers.
And that really brings us to the summary. What is Andrew Tate? He is a case study in the modern digital economy. He proved that charisma, controversy, and a deep understanding of algorithms can build an empire that is incredibly resilient.
Yeah.
He is still standing in a way despite facing the full weight of the legal systems of 3 powerful nations.
But for how long? I mean, that's the question now.
That is the question. The myth of the untouchable top G is colliding violently with the man who is a defendant in multiple very serious criminal trials.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Why should you care about a kickboxer from Luton who got famous on TikTok?
Because Tate isn't just a person. He's a symptom. He represents a vacuum where millions of young men felt lost and unheard, and he filled that vacuum with a very seductive and a very dangerous narrative.
All right.
Understanding him helps us understand the mechanics of radicalization in the digital age. It shows us how the economy of outrage works, how being hated online can be just as profitable as being loved, sometimes more so.
Okay, so here's a final provocative thought to leave you with. Andrew Tate's entire brand is built on the idea that he is fighting the matrix. He is the resistance. He's the one showing you the way out of the system. But his entire rise to power, every dollar he made, relied on him expertly manipulating social media algorithms, exploiting digital banking systems like Stripe and crypto, and using corporate structures like affiliate marketing. He used the tools of the system to build his anti-system brand.
It raises the fundamental question, is he actually the resistance? Or is he the ultimate product of the very system he claims to despise? A glitch that the Matrix actually profited from.
Something to mull over. We've laid out the sources, we've given you the timeline, and we've shown you the evidence as it's been presented. Now it's up to you to look at the facts and decide for yourself.
Absolutely. Always question the narrative, both his and the one about him.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you in the next one.